Hi, I'm Arthur Tolu too, and you're on Arthur Tolu's channel, Why and How Women Are Exploited by Men Worldwide series from that book. And today you will be listening to Chapter 5, which is Break Me Off a Piece. I know that you will find it interesting, and I like to share this with people sometimes. And since you all are now going to be my friends, and I hope that I can be your friend, a lot of things that you will hear me say and talk about, I'm going to tell you what one of my neighbors told me, just to give you a little heads up. She had been seeing me coming and going. And she says, "So I heard you're an author." I says, "Yeah." She says, "Well, I liked about the book." I says, "Okay, great." So I took her the book, and she saw me sometime later, and she said, "Tolu, did you write that book?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Are you sure that you're the one that wrote that book, Tolu?" I said, "Oh, yes, I'm very sure." I said, "Because I struggled and took a lot of time, going through what I needed to impart in terms of the book. The book has 20 chapters, 300 and some pages." I says, "Believe me, I know I wrote the book." She says, "Well, looking at you, I never thought you talked like that." I said, "I just told the truth. There's just what is the case in the book. I tried to be, it's a serious subject matter, but I wrote it in a lighthearted way, and I hope that you will enjoy coming to Arthur Tolu 2 series channel on this book. And you don't have to do anything. Put your feet up, get in the bathtub, and turn on Arthur Tolu 2 channel, and let me read to you. Looking forward to hearing you. Come back and let me know what you think. And I'm going to turn it over to, you're listening to Break Me Off a Piece for Chapter 5. See you at the next series. Bye.
Chapter 5. Break Me Off a Piece is the title of this chapter. Break Me Off a Piece, Chapter 5. I need a piece, as big of a piece of life and preparation for life as the male minister, the male partner, the male child, the male friends, the uncles, whoever and whatever role or relationship that male may have to me. I need to have as big of a piece broken off for me as the male does, and I need that as a female. But ladies, what females have to learn to do is to ensure, they have to take out insurance for themselves in terms of situations and relationships and roles in life. No one is responsible and will take care of you no more than to the extent that you've looked out for yourself. And so often you see females who've not broken off a piece for themselves. Going right to the point, often females are expected, and even other females expect for the female to put aside her goals, her aspirations, her education, or her job, or her career, to come home and take care of parents, to take care of kids, to take care of ex-partners who have fallen sick. Ladies, ensure and make your own position in life financially, emotionally, and mentally. Don't get so involved to the point And don't let your emotions, put your emotions on the table. Just pick them up, put them in a little bag, and say, look, here's how I feel emotionally about the situation and the circumstances regarding who's going to take care of my dad or mom or whatever the need is. Fine. This is what we're looking at. But at the same time, you've got to say, now, if I come home and take care of this person, at the end of the road, one, am I going to be so mentally and physically incapacitated and run down from taking on this big job and making myself responsible for this big job that I might even die before that person does, or may fall ill and be physically unable to take care of myself because I've run myself down? That's one instance that you need to think about. The other instance is, what realistically are you giving up in terms of, if I come home and take care of this person and live off of their Social Security check, or take $100 or a couple of $100 a month for taking care of them, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, what then, first of all, I'm not going to have any money saved up. I'm not going to have prepared myself financially along the way. I'm not going to have had any money taken out for workman's comp. I'm not going to have any money taken out for Social Security or unemployment. So if any of those circumstances change, then even that little amount that you had coming in is not available there. I'm not telling you not to look out after other folks, but I'm saying that you break off a piece for yourself. You understand, no matter how much you love these other people, you still must maintain and take care of yourself, because it's not going to be the case that because you were the one who stayed there and took care of your parents, that you're going to get what they had. Even if they had a nice bank account or a house or land or whatever, and a car sitting out in the driveway, your siblings are going to come right in there, and they, by right, unless there has been a will designating that you will get a bigger portion, then this is the time when you want a bigger piece broken off for you. And not that you want it, you're entitled to it, or at least you need to be aware of it. Because in the end, all those people who went right on about their business and you stayed there and did all this work, no matter what they said to you and what they promised to you when you decided or accepted the responsibility of being the person who did that, you may not find yourself looking at the same people when that person has expired, and it's time to then begin to take care of yourself and go back to your own, getting your own life situated in terms of where you're going to live and where you're at, and you'll find that you don't have any resources. You've probably been alienated, but this is just one example about breaking off a piece for yourself, okay? You break off a piece for yourself. Anytime anyone comes to you with any proposition, you need to first say, let me hear what you have to say. Let me think about it. Let me meet with you after I've thought about it, so that I've had a chance to ask you any questions or clear up anything that we need to have cleared up. This is the only way that you can ensure that you at least have made a legitimate effort at breaking off a fair piece for yourself. Because males, family members, outside males, and even other women always expect for a female to give up her life, her job, her career, to do something to enhance someone else. I mean, the things that people will come and ask you to do as a female, they're not going to ask a male to do that. Oftentimes, even when someone come and ask you about forming a partnership or going into business and these kinds of things, most often when a man comes to you as a female and asks you to come into business with him, to be his business partner, he's asking you that 9 times out of 10 as a female, and him being a male, because he expects for you to be like his assistant, to do all of the work. And the things that he knows that you as a female will be proficient at doing and will do, and without arguing or questioning it, and will accept an unfair, unreasonable portion of doing the work, is because if he went to a male, that male would not do those things on that level and would not accept that. Again, ladies, break off a piece for yourself. Anytime somebody comes to you, male or female, asking you about getting involved in something, doing something, giving of yourself, giving of your skills, giving of your services, if it's for more than a day or a few minutes, then you have to sit down and think through what you would stand to gain, what you might stand to lose, and how much of a commitment this is going to require of you. And is this going to be something that you're going to be doing in lieu of something else? Always give whomever it is you're dealing with a parameter. Always set up. Never leave it open-ended. Even if you have nothing else in the world ever to do again in life, never let someone dictate and your time, your resources, and how you want to use or not use your time and resources. Always give people a finite period. And the reason you need to do this is because if you do not set up a parameter and make it known that your time and that what you're doing is valuable, then the person or the people that you're doing it for will not have any value for you and your time and what you're giving of yourself. That's human nature. So even if you do that, they may not put value to it. But if you don't do it, if you're just available and you're just always there and you're just a do-gooder and just, now if you have a lot of money and you're one of these super, super wealthy people that have all the money and all the resources and everything you need, and you're just looking then for fulfillment for the sake of fulfillment, and, you want to take on these long, drawn-out big projects, fine. But if that's not your case, and someone's asking you to do something that means that you either will do that project or not be able to maybe do something else for yourself that's necessary, and necessary means in this case that it will psychologically make you feel good, physically make you feel good or look good, or that it is something in terms of taking classes or training that will be of use to you, then, you don't put your stuff aside and defer your things for someone else. Even to sending a man and helping a man get through school, I should not have to bring that subject up, but I do, because it has not changed. While you're typing up all of his papers and doing all of his research and cooking all his meals and taking his stuff to the cleaners and washing his stuff, unless this man is providing for you a home and you're doing all of this, guess what, ladies? when he finishes school, and I mean, there are statistics that show that very few of those guys will keep you. They move on. You haven't broken off a piece for yourself. You needed to be, while he was putting on his pants, taking classes and bettering himself and getting himself situated so that when he moved on to the other lady who was not doing all that stuff for him, you should have been breaking off a piece for yourself. You are responsible, and only you. No one else. I don't care who it is going to take care of breaking off a piece for you but you. So you got to start thinking, ladies. You got to set your mind up and set your whole psychic up to know and accept and be prepared. Don't to break off a piece for yourself. And again, when I say break off a piece for yourself, I am talking about ensuring that you're not giving more and doing more than what you emotionally, mentally, financially, or physically can afford to do, or that is reasonable for you to do. And if you're doing something for someone, and I say this often, if it's not a 2-year-old or a 6-month-old baby, or an elderly person who's infirm, and they don't appreciate it, cut them off, okay? I don't care who it is, if they're not a child, your child, and it's not someone that you know do not have the capacity, that's the key here. If the person doesn't have the capacity to understand and appreciate what you're doing for them, that's different. But if you're dealing with a situation or a person, a male, a female, a job, and they have the capacity to understand what it is you're doing for them, and you feel that you're not being appreciated, I personally will tell a person and lay out, look, I have a problem with this. I'm not feeling good about this. And I don't go to them until I've already written it out, and I already know and have thought out what it is that's bothering me and why I'm not feeling good about it. Then I also have written out several things that would make me feel better that they need to do to make me feel appreciated or respected. If you don't break off a piece for yourself, nobody's going to respect you. Nobody's going to respect what you do. I don't care how good you are. They're not going to respect it. So you've got to always keep in mind. And if you know, and even, let me talk about, in general, these faith organizations. That's a whole, that's a topic unto itself. But ladies, and I say ladies because when you go to the faith organizations, that's what they call them now here in the West, let me say religious groups. It's always a male, or most times a male, and I'm not interested in those exceptions where there's a female pastor, but the majority is that it's a rooster up there, and his congregation will be women, and the few men who are in there are going to be elderly and children. The males that are going to be in there are going to be elderly and children. And ladies, I'm not trying to tell you about your religious life and your beliefs and what to do, but you keep in mind, all right? Look around. Always do this. Make this your policy. Look around and see for yourself. Why there are all those women and children in there? Why is this guy ruling over women and children? Aren't there? I mean, why doesn't he have more guys in there? This is not the time and the period and the era when the man might have had a job and the female has all this it's not that so much that she has time, but she may have more control over when she's scheduled for scheduling her time. It's not that era anymore. So, any woman who's in there that's under 50, and many who are over 50 are still on a job. They still have a responsibility at home. So don't let somebody put more on you in an organization than what you are comfortable with. And always wonder if, and I do, when people ask me to do things, I always ask myself, would they ask me that or expect that from me if I was a guy? And of course my answer is always no. I mean, there's a big imbalance here. And I'm not comfortable with that imbalance, and I'm always fighting to exert and demand my breaking off a piece for myself. That's important to me. And if you don't do it, people are not going to respect you. It's just as simple as that. Because we're females, that is no excuse and no hindrance to breaking off a piece. And we need to break it off up front. By that I mean, you must make sure that you are getting a deal that would be the same thing that they would offer a guy. You think about that in the work situation. We think about that as females in the world. When we get ready when we're involved in personal situations and relationships, it doesn't occur to us to make sure that what is being asked of us is not asking us to sacrifice too much, and it's having, most of all, respect for our time and efforts and work. You don't have to be on a job. What work you're doing, what contribution you're making, cooking meals, being the person that can be relied on to bring the turkey and dressing and all that goes with it for whatever occasion you have that. All of those things are contributions. They're important contributions, and you must not do things if you discover or see or feel that it's not appreciated and respected. When you're giving away, the one problem we as women have is that we give away too much. We give away too much advice. We're always sharing and telling somebody, and the people don't even want to hear it, okay? When people get something that they don't have to pay for, it doesn't hold the same value to them. That's just life. Unless you're sharing this information with your daughter or son or someone like that, and even they, will, until they get about 50, will throw most of that information out along with the bathwater. So we got to remember and start understanding how and when to share of ourselves and to what extent. Blabbing all the time, nobody's listening. You're not taken seriously. If you pick and choose what you say and how much you say, it's a known fact that people are more inclined to want to hear what you have to say because they don't hear your mouth all the time. Unsolicited advice, always being the person that know everything and want to tell other people, that does not get respected and it's not rewarded. And even information may be absolutely the case, and maybe information that if the person would never be able to afford to go to a professional to get. I have found and know personally that when you give people advice and they have not asked you for it, one, that is something that is a mistake. And even if the person asks you for advice, you may want to limit what advice you're offering and only provide one little short paragraph at most and leave it. We can't be everything to everybody. We can't be most things to most people. What we as females must do is to understand, first of all, that cultures and families have changed. So, without going into all of how that has changed, they've changed. So, it is because it has changed, the culture and families are evolving and constantly changing. That is the reason that is even more so the case that you've got to break off a piece for yourself. There probably will not be someone that will be able to keep you and take you on if you become sick or if you become destitute or as you get elderly. The likelihood that someone is going to take you in and care for you in those circumstances, as what have been the case in the past, are pretty much nil. Even if relatives want to do that, because everybody has to work now, and it takes a lot more to live, and there are a lot less extended family households where you had other people in the family who were at different points in life, some teenagers, some kids, grandpa, grandma, Aunt Lou, and it was different people who lived in this house. So everybody could contribute to taking care of you. That's not the case anymore. And like someone told me, and I'll never forget it, I was about 14 years old, and this was a mature man who looked at me one day, and I guess, I was blossoming as a 14-year-old. And I hadn't thought about it so much, but I guess he had noticed it. And what he said to me was, and I had heard that message pretty much all my life, do not rely on being pretty, attractive, shapely, young, or female. Because all of those things are going to leave you except for the fact that you will remain a female. And the worst thing you can be is an old Native African American female who is broke. And what I would add to that he did not include in that, was broke or in bad health. So that's what breaking off a piece is all about. It is ensuring before you need it that you have established your basis for enjoying your life, not only now but later on. And I see a lot of decrepit people walking around who are in that shape because they didn't break off a piece for themselves. They were so busy taking care of and tending to everybody else's affairs and business that they neglected themselves. And then, people will say things like, oh, I did so much for such and such. Took care of them. I remember the time when they didn't have a babysitter and they couldn't afford, they had just started their job. And they couldn't do this, couldn't afford to pay a babysitter. So I took the child in until they got up on their feet. Now that they're making $85,000 a year, and I'm over here struggling trying to buy my prescriptions, they won't even look at me. You didn't break yourself off a piece. That's why they're not looking at you, because it was okay to take and help that person, especially if you could afford to do that with their child, by taking care of their child without them providing you with a fee for doing that initially, okay? That is the key here, initially. But this is a good example of what I want to get over to people, to women, females. What you want to do, and this is how you're going to be breaking off a piece for yourself. You're going to say, Marilyn, yes, I will take care of Vinton. I know that you and John just broke up and you are just going back to work and that you cannot afford to take this job at this pay and pay somebody that you trust to take care of Vinton the way that you would trust me with Vinton. I understand you can't afford to pay me, or you can only pay me a very nominal amount of money. That's fine. But you don't leave it there. Here's the other part that must be in writing. Marilyn, I'm willing to do this. But let's put this in writing, and if this is acceptable to you, then I will take care of it. And here's what we're going to put in writing, Marilyn. For someone to set Vinton for the hours and the days that you want me to do that, I have priced it, and that runs about $200 per week. I understand, and I am very sympathetic towards you, Marilyn, that you cannot pay me $200 a week, that you can only pay me $50 a week, or maybe you can't pay me at all. But what I must have from you, Marilyn, is a note payable for this future date. And you can set it a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, that whatever amount that you and Marilyn agreed on that she was going to pay you for taking care of Vinton, while she can't pay you then, at that moment, a year from now, 2 years from now, as I said, Marilyn might be rolling and have a high-powered job. She doesn't have to pay you anything and won't pay you anything when she's got that high-powered job, and she's now taking her child to some exclusive center and paying them a few thousand a month to take care of Vinton. She doesn't have any good regard for you, and it's not just Marilyn. This is Bob, John, whatever name, sex group you want to call it. You didn't break off a piece for yourself. So what you do, if you want to be nice and you want to offer something and you feel that a person needs your support, you can give it to them, but break off a piece for yourself. Put in there a notes payable. You have it signed and notarized. Both of you agree to it in the terms. Think about it. And I'll tell you something else. If Marilyn is not willing to sign that note, you don't want to keep her baby for her. You don't want to keep Vinton for her, because she's already told you where she stands. But if she really appreciates and respects what you're doing for her, then she understands that she owes you you. By then, she may have a good line of credit to pay you some of that money. Or you may set it up where, starting a year from that point, that Merlin can start paying you. Maybe she's accumulated $5,000 in debt to you for taking care of Vinton. Well, you can set it up where in a year from now, she can start paying you $200 a month towards that debt, even though Vinton is no longer with you. Breaking off a piece for yourself, this is a perfect example. And this is not limited, I don't use this example just between female and female. This is between you and anyone else. Your brother, your ex-husband, your boyfriend's baby's mother. I don't care who it is. Break off a piece for yourself. Same thing when you go back home to take care of family members and to give up your place to live in the family member's house or whatever it is. And then you have not had some kind of instrument, the will, a trust, or notes payable between your siblings and the person that you're doing it for. You have not broken off a piece for yourself. These are absolute things that we all do every day, all the time. We've been doing it. We don't even think about it. And then when things don't work out, and they're not going to work out because that's not the nature of things and people. No one is going to do and give you any more than what they have to. Furthermore, if you have not put a value to yourself and to what you're bringing into a situation, they're definitely not going to pay you for it later on because it had no value to them.
These are issues that women are not, or females generally are not made aware of in their upbringing, in their socialization, in the kinds of organizations and groups that they are involved with, as well as doing volunteer work. I mean, if it was not for women, there would be virtually no volunteerism. It is women who have always run and continue to run and head volunteer organizations until or if, with the exception to that is if being the head of that organization the head person has a salary or a means of getting some perks and benefits as directed from the organization. I'm talking about monetary and social perks and benefits, or from the organization that they're heading. Then it's a male. Then they always put a male there. Or if there's some way, come to the point. If there's some way for that person to divert assets. Let me be clear. I don't know why I'm rambling here, ladies. I apologize. If there's some way for the head of that person, that organization, nonprofit organization, to steal, let me be clear, steal. You can call it, I would use the nice word divert, but I really meant steal or siphon, whatever, right along with stealing. Then it's usually a male. So that is a clear example how females are only allowed to do things, head organizations, be in the limelight, if it's superficial, really, and the female wants, they want to say, such and such a woman is renowned for doing these good things. Now, there's nothing wrong with volunteerism. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But what I want to make clear here is you have to and must separate and be clear on what your intention is. If it is your intention to volunteer because you need something to be involved with and to round out your life, or it's a cause that you think is good and you believe in, that needs to be established by you clearly and written out. If you are doing something because it is, or there has been some type of emergency or immediate circumstances that require you to give of yourself, however it is that you plan to give, to help resolve or help work through that crisis, that is fine. But you need to be clear on that and understand and have written out what it is you're doing. If there is some endpoint or objective, you must write that down. You must have established that for yourself first. I plan to work with the Tolo Two Books organization perpetually. This is something that I believe in, and I like what the books that Tolu Two Books are providing for and about women, and I want to be a part of the Tolu Two Books family. I want to pass that on to my sisters, my children, and my grandchildren. I want this to be a tradition that we be involved with Tolu Two Books. We be friends of Tolu Two Books and support them, Tolu Two Books, through distributing the books, through making people aware of it, whatever it is that you want to do. You're volunteering. That you are volunteering in the situation of, or in the case, that is a case where you're volunteering in and getting involved for and with a group that you want to do out of pure enjoyment, along with the belief that there is something that other women as well as you can derive out of being involved with. That's one type of volunteerism. So that's clear. But what doesn't or isn't clear, doesn't get to be clear, is when you go and someone come to you and say, Margaret, we need for you to be the one to plan the company's picnic. See, now right there, when they say, Margaret, we need for you to plan the company picnic, they may interchange the word need with like, depending on how good and manipulative the person that's coming to you is. Fine, maybe you don't have a problem with planning the company picnic. Maybe that's something that you enjoy doing. Maybe you like to plan things. What you have to say to yourself is, first off, do I want to be involved with taking on that kind of responsibility? And And then to help you to decide whether you want to take on that kind of responsibility or not, you then want to ask the person who's asked you to plan it to tell you and present and give you in writing the exact date that the picnic will take place, the exact time, the number of people that they anticipate will be attending the picnic, the exact location of the picnic, and then from there you want to, but you need that information first. Based on that information, you are then in a better position to ask very intelligent questions. If you have to plan a picnic and they're planning to have 200 people there, the second question you need to ask the person who came to ask you is, how many people, other people, have you gotten to agree to work with me on this project? Because what you have asked me to do is to be the chair for this project. If I agree to be in charge of this project and to chair this project, how many other people have you enlisted to work with me in making this project successful? Second question you need to ask. Now, if they say 0, you probably don't want to take that project on. You just don't. I'm not going to even explain why. If they cannot bring someone else and some other people, at least a few, on board to work with you on that project, you don't even want to take the project on. You just say, well, I'm sorry, I can't take it. Then you also need to ask a very important question that most females never ask anybody. What is the budget for this project? How much money are you all going to give my committee to get these things accomplished? When is this money and how is this money going to be available? And what would be the process for my utilizing this money to put on this project for you? That's a very important question to ask, because if they don't have a budget, you probably should not take on the project, because it's not going to be successful unless you are in a position to spend and use your own money that you will not be able to get back. Now, here's the third question that you want to write out and you want to be sure to ask before you agree to do, to chair this project. Who must I answer to? What one person? Who is the ultimate person that I must answer to? Who is the one person and only that person who is going to come to me regarding the particulars of this project? You must ask this question and you must have an answer to it, and it must not be a group of people. It must be one person who you, and that has to be the only person that you're answerable to, or that can come to you as the chair of this project with recommendations of what the project should and should not involve. Anyone else who wants to or see where they need to have some input, it needs to be channeled and written and presented to that person that you answer to, and that person you answer to has to be the one that submitted to you. The first rule for confusion and turmoil is when it's not clear to everybody else who is the one that make the decisions based on your chairing the group and you're chairing the project. And it causes problems when you do not have that one person who you know is in charge, ultimately in charge of all decisions concerning the final outcome of whatever you have decided as the chairperson. If you can't get that and a budget and a commitment of some other hands and feet, don't get involved, because you have not broken off a piece for yourself. You've got to break off. This is a part of breaking off a piece for yourself. No one is going to care about your frustrations and make you the martyr that you deserve to be when you had not properly prepared by breaking off a piece for yourself before you took on that commitment. And I emphasize this is because women have not had, in many instances, one, the social training, military training, coaching teams, being in sports teams. There are exceptions to this, but they are not the majority of women, okay? So even though you have done these things, I'm not saying that there are no women anywhere that have not and are not doing those things and have this training, but I'm speaking to the majority. Everywhere in this book, I don't care, and I'm not talking about those few exceptions. I'm talking about the majority of us. And the majority of us have not had as a female. Just because you were born a female, you did not and probably have not gotten the training and the socialization to prepare you for breaking off a piece for yourself. And even if you had a propensity to break off a piece for yourself as a female, everyone else, males and females, because of their direction and socialization, will attempt to prevent you from breaking off a piece for yourself by telling you you're doing something that goes contrary to how you're supposed to think and act and feel. And when somebody tells you that you're doing something, when you ask a question about anything regarding something that someone has asked you to do or you're contemplating doing, or that you're having to give of your resources, be it money, time, or energy, and you ask a question and they try to make it seem like there's something wrong with you, right away let the red flag go up. And I'll tell you about me. When the red flag goes up, it probably ain't gonna come back down. See, if you allow that flag to go up, that red flag, and for me the red flag means look out, warning, be aware, this ain't something or somebody you want to get involved with or deal with. It's something they hear that's not going to make you happy or be productive for you, Tolu. If that flag goes up, I don't care how daggone good you are, it probably ain't going to come down. So it's best with me for that flag not to come up. Period. Ladies, we must get calm and think things through. And think things through, write them out, and plan them. If you're not thinking things through,
if you're not, number one, calm, that's foremost. Don't make decisions when you're emotional. Don't give an answer to things when it's first presented to you until you have had an opportunity to digest it. Unless it's a life and death matter, you want to take at least 24 hours to 3 days to make your decision. Then that way you have had a chance to calm down, look at the entire picture of what has been presented to you, to decide if it's in your economic, and listen to the words I'm saying, economic, first and foremost benefit, psychological benefit, emotional benefit, and physical benefit for you to make whatever decision you're making about any situation that is presented to you. Because if you decide these things while or in the midst of the adrenaline and the emotion of what someone has asked you to take on, and when I say someone has asked you to take on, I am speaking of other people asking you to take on and be involved in their problems and their issues, and for you to make them your problems and your issues. There's nothing wrong with that, ladies, but there's just so much of that you can do. You've got to pick and choose when, from whom, and how often you're going to take on other people's burdens and problems. And you also have to see if it's in your best benefit to listen to, on an ongoing basis, someone else's problems and benefit. I'm going to share with you a story from my book, Oops, Then You're Dead, about a woman. Her name is Aunt Lama Beans. And this is a very good reason, an example of why you must be cognizant of taking on other people's problems and listening to them, and what impact and effect it can have on you. And you may be not breaking off a piece for yourself, and you may be allowing other people to break off too much of their problems on and put on your plate that overfills your plate. So here's a story from Oops, Then You're Dead. Oops, story 25. This is an administrative note. I think that I gave you the tape and the cassette for Oops, Story 25 that is to be inserted here. And I'm just not sure. I don't remember. But okay, I'm picking up from after Oops, Story 25. And the lead-in for it is, as I've said, here is an example. Here's an excerpt taken from Oops, Then You're Dead. Oops, Story 25 of a woman, like most women, who has given too much in taking on other people's circumstances